Shri N.K. Premachandran.
Thank you, Chairman, sir, for affording me this opportunity to take part in the discussion on the Finance Bill of 2022. Sir, I would like to appreciate the Honorable Finance Minister in presenting a non-controversial finance bill after a long time. Sir, it is a moderate bill, though the policies and programs of this government is pro-corporate. This finance bill of 2022 is moderate. It is a well-balanced finance bill. So once again, I take this opportunity to appreciate the Honorable Finance Minister for presenting such a bill. So regarding the budget, we had a very detailed, in-depth discussion, so I am not going to the fiscal terms and the economic terms of the budget and the issues related to the budget. I am also directly coming to the tax proposals. Sir, the finance bill which gives effect to the taxation proposals to a budget estimate of 22,04,422 crores of rupees as tax revenue alone. That is anticipated for the financial year 22-23. Sir, 2021, the revised estimate, it is 20,78,936 crores. So the tax revenue budget estimate seems to be realistic, as the gross tax collection for the month of January 2022 is more than 1.4 lakh crores, which is highest since the inception of this GST. That is the highest which we have seen. That is a record collection during the month of January 2022. So definitely the estimate which is shown in the budget estimate of total gross tax revenue is realistic according to me. And it also estimates a fiscal deficit of 6.4 and a revenue deficit of 3.6. If the way this economy goes in such a way, definitely we will be able to contain the fiscal deficit as well as revenue deficit as estimated. Sir, but my apprehension is regarding, and also the first question to the Honorable Finance Minister is, what would be the impact of in the context of the Russian-Ukraine war? Because it is going to adversely affect the Indian economic situation. Why? Because Russia is the world's third largest producer and exporter of oil after USA and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And it is meeting 10% of the global demand also. So in such a situation, the elevated oil prices will also raise India's current account CAD. Also, it will be affected. It is now staying in a comfortable stage. Further, the higher price level of the oil products will inevitably drive in the inflation also. So I would like to caution the government, we have to be very careful in addressing the issue of this war situation so as to address the issues pertaining to the economic situation in our country. Sir, coming to the tax proposals, first point which I would like to make regarding the tax proposals is the tax GDP ratio. So the tax effort is generally measured by the tax GDP ratio. The buoyancy of the tax reflects the revenue generating capacity. Tax GDP ratio in India was 16.55 to 18.79 during 2005 to 2009. Now it is 9.9% to 11.2% of the GDP. That is between 2013-14 to 2022 to 2023. So we have to improve the tax GDP ratio. So many recommendations have been given, but none of the recommendations have been implemented so far in a fruitful manner. So we have to control the tax evasion effectively, make the tax administration accountable, remove the uncertainty for taxpayers, and move away from the statistic revenue principle to the progressive principles. These are the suggestions which I would like to make so as to have a good GDP tax ratio, tax GDP ratio to have a better financial position in our country. So with these principles in mind, in the year 2017, we have introduced the goods and service tax. I think that rightly Gaurav Gogoi today in the morning has said it is the right time to review the GST. I think that a special session or a special discussion is highly essential so as to review the performance of the GST during the last 4.5 years. So the purpose of the GST, the basic purpose of the introduction of the GST was to avoid multiplicity of the rate of tax, strict tax compliance, increase the tax base, and one nation, one tax. That was the principle which we have adopted at the time when Sri Arun Jaitley was introducing the GST. Sir, I would like to quote certain speeches of the late Honorable. We, the House, is having great respect to late Sri Arun Jaitley. The first statement of his which I would like to quote was made in 2014. Sri Arun Jaitley said, I quote, "Consistency and transparency of taxation laws are essential for a consistent growth of revenue of the government," unquote. This is 2014. And the second one which echoes in my mind is from his speech at Peterson Institute of International Economics in Washington in April 2015. I quote, "The government sees taxpayers as partners and not as potential hostages of victims," unquote. And the third quoting which I would like to make is the quote of a judge of the High Court of Gujarat. During an online hearing of a case, I quote, "It is very easy to reach the moon. We would take a chance. But to understand your policies and intricacies of this tax, oh God, with folded hands, we say that it is beyond our capacity to understand," unquote. This is the wordings of a judge regarding our tax structure which is prevailing in our country. We have merged the GST to make more simple and to make more effective and to have strict tax compliance. Sir, GST law is the most intricate tax law the country has ever seen. Even after 4.5 years of its implementation, still the entire system of GST is still in a premature stage. Transparency, consistency, and easy compliance and seamless input tax credit. That was the assurance which we have given at the time when it is introduced on the Independence Day. We remember the great historic day by the Honorable President has introduced it, that is, gave people to this country prior to its implementation. It may be noted that the slogan on the eve of implementation of GST Act 2017 was "Good and Simple Tax, and file your returns over a single click of the mouse." This was the slogan which was made at that time. Presently, even nil return cannot be filed with a single click of the mouse. That is the situation which is prevailing as far as GST is concerned. Sir, I am not here to protect the interest of the cunning habitual tax evaders or offenders, but here to reflect the agony suffered by an innocent micro, small, and medium taxpayer in fulfilling his duties to the country. Sir, were we able to maintain the consistency and transparency of taxation laws in the country? Number one. Do we register a consistent growth in revenue of the central and the state governments? Are the taxpayers made partners of the system, or are they still treated as potential hostages or victims of the tax system? Sir, I would like to draw the attention of the Honorable Finance Minister regarding one amendment. Also, I am moving an amendment on this issue also. That is, seamless input tax credit has been provided in the original GST, but it is quite unfortunate as far as the traders are complaining that because of the new amendment which you have put in section 38 of the Central GST Act by virtue of 108, clause 108 of the present finance bill, this is being taken away because the seamless input tax credits as envisioned by the legislature through three-tier system of return filing, that is GSTR1, GSTR2 and GSTR2, majority of the present day grievances and cases would not have occurred. So seamless input tax credit, which is an assurance given at the time of introduction of the GST, is not being complied with or is not being honored with. That has to be taken care of, for which I have already given a notice of amendment which is pending for at the time of after the reply it will be taken for consideration. And another point is regarding, I would like to submit regarding the gold also. Sir, India is the highest consumer of gold in the world. India's gold jewelry exports stood at US $30.9 billion and imports stood at US $26 billion in the financial year 2018-19. India's gem and jewelry sector is one of the largest in the world, contributing 29% to the global jewelry consumption. Sir, since the price of the gold stood very high, large-scale smuggling of gold is taking place throughout the country. The basic reasons for the illegal activity is due to higher rate of customs duty now prevailing. The rate of customs duty is the in 11-12. Yes, I'm in 2011-12 it was 1%. 12-13 it was 2%, 13-14 it was 4%, 6%, then 8%. 14-15 to 17-18, 10%. In 19 it was 12%, 12.5%. 20-21 it was 10.75%. Now I fully appreciate the Honorable Minister. Now it has been reduced to 12.5% to 7.5%. The industry or the gem and jewelry industry demand further decline in the import tax because so as to avoid the smuggling also, and also further relaxation is required as far as these traders are concerned. Honest taxpayers are being punished in the case of gem and jewelry industry. Sir, coming to the cess and surcharge, there is a political point which I would like to make. Sir, 80th constitutional amendment provides for all central taxes except surcharge and cess to be shared between the central and the states. That means cess and surcharges will not be a part of the divisible pool. Till 2015-16, surcharge and cess was just 5 to 6% of the GTR, gross tax revenue. Now it has increased to 9%, more than 9% of the GTR. So the intention of imposing surcharge and cess, instead of imposing a rate of tax is to avoid sharing of the tax with the state. So that has to be relooked into. So that has to be relooked or reviewed. And regarding the custom duty, 2 points. Cashew nut. Sir, I am from the cashew capital of the country, from Kollam district. Thousands and thousands of poor workers are now in trouble. Cashew industry is in big trouble. 2.5% of customs duty is already imposed by the government. I draw the attention of the Honorable Finance Minister. Please withdraw the 2.5% of the customs duty on raw cashew nuts so as to save the cashew industry in Kerala. And also, I urge upon the Honorable Finance Minister to declare a cashew revival package so as to save the industry, not only in Kollam, in Kerala, but throughout the country. Cashew industry is now progressing like anything, so that has to be done. And the last one is regarding the reduction of customs duty, enhancement of the custom duty of the titanium dioxide from 10% to 25%, even up to 20%, so as to save the domestic industry, just like KMML and IRE, which are dealing with the rarest industry. Sir, with these words, once again, I would like to take this opportunity or this opportunity to appreciate the Honorable Finance Minister for having such a moderate, non-controversial finance bill for the year 2022. Thank you very much.
Bahedia ji.
धन्यवाद सभापति।